All right, I know I'm a little bit late with this one, but since it's January and not many good films usually come out this time of every year, I thought now would be the perfect time to do this. So without further ado, here are my top 10 films of 2024. Let's go. What's going on all my Flicksters? This is Jacey from Jacey Flicks, and we're going to do a countdown of my favorite movies of 2024. Now, before I do get started, just know that there were a lot of great films that came out this past year that were almost impossible for me to fit all into my top 10 list. So if you do not see one of your favorite films on this list, just know that it does not mean that it was a bad film. I just simply couldn't fit it all into this list. Also, please make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on new movies that I'm reviewing on this channel. And just like always, I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts to any of these films, so you don't have to worry and you don't have to watch other videos, okay? Please stay until the end, okay? Because my number one is pretty amazing to me, at least. So let's kick it off with my number 10 favorite film of this past year. And this one's a little bit different because I didn't see it on anybody's top 10, but it was a film I feel like that was really underrated, flew under the radar when it came out, and not many people were talking about it. But number 10 is Piece by Piece. Piece by Piece is a visually and emotionally uplifting documentary about Pharrell Williams, told uniquely through Lego animation. Directed by Morgan Neville, the film captures Pharrell's journey from his childhood in Virginia to his success in music and fashion, blending humor, creativity, and heartfelt storytelling. Featuring voices from Pharrell and other notable figures like Snoop Dogg, Gwen Stefani, Pusha T, and even Charlie Wilson, the legend himself. This film creatively uses Lego pieces to illustrate Pharrell's artistic process and synesthesia, which, if you guys do not know what that means, just go and check out my full review on that film. Trust me, it's a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. And while it glosses over some controversies in the documentary that I would have loved for them to address, it still celebrates Pharrell's unrelenting optimism, making it a joyful, inventive, and family-friendly exploration of his life and impact. This one was for sure very different and unexpected, and really just entertaining to watch all the way around. Now, this brings me to my number 9 favorite film of 2024 with Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 masterfully expands Paul Atreides' journey, blending spectacle and mythology into a visually stunning, emotionally, and entertaining epic. Denis Villeneuve crafts a near-perfect adaptation by embracing the challenges of translating such a dense saga, balancing fidelity to the source material with bold cinematic choices. While deep world building occasionally sidelines newer characters, the film's immersive storytelling, breathtaking visuals, and captivating narrative make it a monumental achievement in the sci-fi genre, delivering a dazzling and transportive conclusion to the War of Arrakis. Timothée Chalamet surprisingly did a great job jumping from the first film of him being this kind of young kid who didn't really know too much but who was trying to come into his own, to this second film with his growth really propelling him and him taking the lead on this role. He not only does an amazing job with this, but so does the rest of the cast, including Javier Bardem. And he had a meme as well that just went viral during this time that was funny to see. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the third installment soon from one of my favorite directors out in the game right now. Now, this leads me to my number 8 pick with Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 tackles the complex emotions of puberty with smart writing and a talented cast, offering a successful and heartfelt sequel. While it explores themes of low self-worth and anxiety intelligently, which is what I love the most about this film, it often does prioritize metaphor over genuine emotional depth, falling just a little short of Pixar's emotional-driven films like 2022's Turning Red, and kind of retreads just a little bit from the first one. Despite this though, and that formula being repetitive, the movie remains funny, sweet, and occasionally heartwarming, making it an engaging, if imperfect, exploration of adolescence. One of the animated films that I love seeing this past year, and I felt like it was a fitting sequel to a Pixar universe that hasn't necessarily made fans happy with their sequels over the past few years. Now, this brings me to my number 7 pick with Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus is a surprisingly great addition to the franchise, delivering thrilling moments, solid performances, and the return of the xenomorphs in their classic menacing form. Now, this one, of course, took place after part 1, but before part 2, so in between that little sliver of perhaps 2 of my favorite films of the Alien franchise. While a little less distinct than its predecessors, it pays homage to Ridley Scott's original with fascinating production design and a seamless blend of CGI and practical effects. I mean, this world and that time period, as well as some of the production design, was built brilliantly, I think, by director Fede Alvarez. The film captures the industrial futurism of the franchise with red warning lights and just awesome aesthetics. Despite a few noticeable effects in the third act, the movie succeeds in evoking the franchise's iconic moments. Kaylee Spaney shines in the lead role, with David Johnson standing out as the droid Andy. This was one of the horror films that came out this past year, and I have rewatched it at least a few times since then. It not only has rewatchability all over it, but also services the fans like the past few films in the franchise haven't really been able to do. Although the last 20 minutes or so weren't truly needed, this film was still entertaining and a great watch overall. Now, this of course leads me to my number 6 pick with Wicked. The film adaptation of Wicked brings the iconic Broadway musical to life with dazzling performances, stunning visuals, and emotional depth. This one really surprised me even when I got an early screening to this movie. And I remember being sick in the theater, like literally had a fever, but I was so captivated by the whole movie, even the 3-hour length, that I managed to just kind of forget about my fever and sickness for that time being. Directed by John M. Chu, the film beautifully captures the essence of Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holzman's Tony-winning origin story of the Witches of Oz. Blending themes of identity, morality, and friendship, Cynthia Erivo's portrayal of Elphaba is both powerful and vulnerable, while Ariana Grande's Glinda balances humor, charm, and emotional complexity. Together, their chemistry elevates the story, especially during musical highlights like Defying Gravity. The meticulous production design and vibrant ensemble performances breathe life into Oz, even as a few visual elements, such as muted colors in certain scenes, slightly detract from the magic, and you can kind of see some of that later on. But nonetheless, you guys, for a 3-hour film, I was really impressed. While the movie runs nearly 3 hours, the immersive storytelling, electrifying musical numbers ensure audiences remain engaged, and I was for sure. Minor pacing issues and the inclusion of some less impactful songs could have been trimmed just a little bit, but these are small little nitpicks that I have in an otherwise spectacular adaptation, so it's no wonder that this landed on my number 6 spot. Now this brings me to my top 5, alright you guys, we're getting close. Now my number 5 pick of my favorite films of 2024 has to be The Substance. Now, normally this would be a little bit higher on my list, but let me explain. I still love this film nonetheless, you guys. Do not kill me in the comments. But The Substance is a bold and twisted exploration of societal fears surrounding female aging and beauty. Demi Moore shines as Elizabeth Sparkle, a fitness guru replaced by a younger clone, aka Margaret Qualley, after using a mysterious liquid called The Substance. Director Carolee Farge, I hope I'm saying that right, delivers a brilliant commentary on how industries exploit these fears, crafting a gory and exaggerated but poignant narrative. While the ending falters slightly by overstaying its welcome, the film's originality and powerful message about the grace of aging make it an excellent and thought-provoking watch. Now, I know for sure this film was on everyone's top 5, maybe even top 3, or picked at number 1, and I get why. This film was so original and honestly felt like an episode of Black Mirror if I had to compare it to anything, but even then, I felt like it was much more gory and grotesque. In a good way though. This film is still an excellent watch and definitely earned the top 5 for me. Now this leads me to my number 4 slot with Smile 2. Smile 2 definitely surprised me. This movie cleverly ups the ante by focusing on a famous singer as its target, using her reach to amplify the curse's influence. This strategic choice adds a layer of intelligence to the malevolent entity, emphasizing its relentless nature and really leaving it almost impossible for our main character to escape its grasp. The sequel builds on what the first one started, but make it a little more intriguing with our central character and this premise overall. A surprising and brutal follow-up, Smile 2 exceeds expectations with its bold approach and visceral horror. Director Parker Finn returns with a bigger, bolder vision, delivering a nerve-wracking imagery and leaving it with an ending that's really shocking to say the least. Now, this is a rare sequel that surpasses the original in every way, cementing its place as a franchise determined to leave a lasting impression. This one, just like Alien Romulus, has tons of watchability, at least for me it does, and I think it also helps that I am a musician and artist myself, so I felt like this movie was extremely creepy and also works as a character study for Sky Riley, played excellently by Naomi Scott, who honestly deserves an Oscar for her performance. Now we're getting to my top 3, with my number 3 being Late Night with the Devil. Perhaps my favorite horror movie of 2024, Late Night with the Devil immerses viewers in a gripping blend of horror and nostalgia, set during a Halloween special gone wrong on a 1977 late night talk show, played brilliantly by David Dastmalchian as he shines as Jack Delroy, whose broadcast unravels into chaos, unleashing a sinister presence. Directed by Cameron and Colin Cairns, the film perfectly captures the essence of a 1970s era with its aesthetic choices, switching to black and white during commercial breaks to delve into the behind-the-scenes drama. The guests on the show, especially June Ross Mitchell and Lily, heighten the suspense as the story builds towards its chilling core, which is a live attempt to summon a demon. Now, that is just the synopsis, you guys. I'm not trying to give you any spoilers with this one, but I really enjoyed this one. The film's clever setup, unique execution, and atmospheric tension make it a standout in the possession subgenre. While the film's slow burn approach and open-ended conclusion may not appeal to every horror fan, it effectively deepens the narrative and invites interpretation, which is why it's in my number 3 spot. And I know some people didn't really like that ending. There was also some controversy behind it with the use of AI imagery, but it doesn't overshadow the film's strengths. With what to me could have been a small short story in the VHS anthology franchise, the vibe is definitely fresh and it leaves you with that classic horror theme. Late Night with the Devil offers an engaging and memorable experience, even if the ending leaves you debating on its true meaning. Now, this brings me to my number 2 spot with The Wild Robot. DreamWorks' The Wild Robot is a heartfelt and visually stunning animated feature that explores themes of family, growth, and self-discovery. This, for sure, was my favorite animated film of this year, hands down. Directed by Chris Saunders and based on Peter Brown's children's book, the film follows Roz, a robot stranded on a deserted island who forms a parental bond with an orphan gosling named Brightbill. With a stellar voice cast including Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal, and Mark Hamill, the film brings its characters to life with emotional depth and charm. The animation, reminiscent of children's book illustrations, blends beautiful visuals and intricate details, creating an enchanting world akin to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Chris Bauer's moving score further enhances the emotional resonance of Roz's journey, making it a standout cinematic experience for 2024. While the narrative at times does follow familiar beats and includes a few slightly darker jokes, these elements don't detract from the film's impact. The Wild Robot excels with its universal story, stunning animation, and heartfelt performances, delivering a touching exploration of identity and connection. It's a classic tale executed with remarkable craftsmanship, making it one of the year's best animated films and a poignant reminder of the beauty in family and personal growth. And now, guys, for my number 1 pick of my favorite film of 2024, drum roll please. Now, although not a perfect film by any means, but one that entertained me all throughout and gave us fans what we truly wanted as a comic book fan. And no, I'm not talking about Joker Folie à Deux. Please do not put that on the screen. What are you doing? Get that out of here. Get it out of here. My number 1 pick, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, this might shock you guys, but I love this film. And yes, like I said, it's not perfect. Not at all. Not by any means. But this was not only the summer blockbuster that we were waiting for, but it gave us comic book fans and superhero fans what we've been wanting for years. And I really didn't think it was possible. And the only reason why I put this at number 1 as opposed to, let's say, like The Wild Robot or some of the other films that were pretty much close to perfect is that that, this film has a ton of watchability, and I feel like it was one that I was watching over and over to catch the small little details, even some of the jokes. And it's what, again, like I said, we were waiting for all 2024 since the trailer was shown during the Super Bowl last year. Deadpool and Wolverine lives up to its immense hype, delivering a hilarious, action-packed, and emotional, satisfying ride. Ryan Reynolds, of course, returns back to his truest form in the funny Merc with the mouth, Deadpool himself, and Hugh Jackman comes back to reprise his iconic role of the Wolverine. And they both shine as Deadpool and Wolverine, bringing their signature chemistry and sharp banter to life in a way that perfectly captures their comic book counterparts. Emma Corrin impresses as Cassandra Nova, a conniving villain who adds tension and stakes to the story. Sean Levy's superb direction combines jaw-dropping fight sequences, dynamic cinematography, and an engaging story that balances humor with heartfelt moments. Unexpected cameos and perfectly timed comedic sequences make this film an unforgettable experience for all comic book fans and even just Marvel fans. While the pacing occasionally feels rushed and a few soundtrack choices kind of miss the mark, at least for me, these are minor nitpicks in an otherwise thrilling movie. Deadpool and Wolverine blends humor, gore, and fan service with emotional depth, revitalizing the Marvel franchise, at least for most of 2024, as I felt like it was the only good comic book film that came out. Whether you're laughing at Deadpool's antics or marveling at the explosive action, the film keeps audiences engaged from start to finish. With its clever writing and stellar performances, it's a must-watch on the big screen with a packed crowd. A fitting farewell to the Fox era of X-Men, the film delivers on every single level. Alright guys, so there you have it. My top 10 favorite films of 2024. As I said, it was really tough for me to fit it all into just my top 10, but I want to hear from you. What are your top 10 movies from this past year? Let me know in the comments below. And last thing before I do go, you guys, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name is Jacey from Jacey Flicks, and until next time, I'm out.